Good morning, children. I'm here in front of you, wishing you a very warm good morning to you all. After such a long time, we are back together. Children, you might be enjoying this extended vacation. Nice delicacies, mother's cooked food, entertaining yourself by TV shows and movies. Isn't it, children? And now, but it's time for studies now. Understood? You might have come across the word online classes, and yes, we are there for you. Online classes today, that is 15th of June, we'll be starting our online classes. But before that, let me give you words for students. Children, give a man a fish and you feed for a day. Understood? Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime. Children, this means that if you are knowing any art, if you are knowing any skill, it will be helpful for you for your lifetime, and you will earn and you will be happy with that. So have that skill with you, and this online classes itself is giving you skill and opportunity and art to be independent. These online classes will be independent learning, and I hope maybe this might be the reason, or this might be the motto of online classes. Rather, you can say that these classes will make you independent. Children, from today onwards, we shall have our online classes. So pull our socks and get ready for the classes. Children, before we begin, let me tell you that this presentation is attempt to prepare you for self-paced learning of any text and to focus on the theme, the sub-theme, figurative language, key sentences, characterization and related working task, and to develop the spirit against memorization. Is it okay with you? Okay, children. Now for the introduction. We'll be dealing with one of the lesson from Flamingo. Children, before that, let me know, or like I'll quote one question. How many of you love your mother? Isn't it a odd question to you? You'll say, of course, ma'am, we love our mother. Let me quote in different way. How many of you love your motherland? Again, the same answer will be from your side. Of course, ma'am, we love our motherland. My third question to you goes, how many of you love your mother tongue? We all, isn't it? Yes, I know the answer from your side. We all. We love our mother tongue. Many of us from this area, this district, Marathi speakers. So our mother tongue is Marathi. We reside in Maharashtra, our mother tongue is Marathi. So we are having pride for that language. Those who are residing in Punjab, their mother tongue Punjabis, they have got full regard and respect for that language. Residing in Tamil Nadu, that is Chennai, they are having that respect for their language. So children, you know, we in the country of India, people are coming from different states. Though we are in a diverse cultural tradition, dressing sense, eating habits and all, but still we are one, because we respect each other's culture and tradition. So today we'll be dealing with such lesson only. The name of the lesson from the text Flamingo is The Last Lesson. Isn't it irony, children, that the last lesson, and we'll be dealing it in the very first. The first lesson will be the last lesson. So children, 12th class, the last lesson, Alfonso Duet. Little bit about the poet. Little bit about the writer. Alfonso Duet a French writer born in Nimes, France, 1840 to 1897. Was a French novelist and a short story writer. You'll have it in your book also, textbook. Open it kindly and see it also. The last lesson is a set in the days of Franco-Prussian War 1870 to 1871, in which days of the Franco-Prussian War, in which France was defeated by Prussia led by Bismarck. Alphonse Daudet, French story writer and novelist, but now remembered as mainly the author of sentimental tales for provincial life in the southern France. Children, the Franco-German had a profound effect on his writings. He was kindly patron of younger writer of his time. For instance, of Marcel Proust. He also served in a school in France for a short period. Daudet joined army to fight in the Franco-Prussian War. The defeat of France had great impact and reflected in his stories. His collection of stories were Monday Tales, in which was published in 1873 in London. This collection of stories shows the change in France's future through the eyes of young boy France. Children, Germany means Prussia occupied two districts of French, that is Lorraine and Alsace, and an order was passed from Berlin that German's language to impose on the French speaking people. Means from tomorrow onwards, these people, the French speaking people, will not speak their own language, the mother tongue. They'll have to learn, listen, speak only German. The story highlights the dismay and distress. Dismay and distress, recently, or restlessness. Okay. Dismay and distress of M. Hamel, the teacher who used to teach French language from last 40 years. The teacher who teaches French to the students and now the villagers also, elderly villagers. And that dismay and that distress has been shown in this story. Children, in this story, the French district of Alsace-Lorraine have passed into Prussian hands. So, better read the story and find out what effect this had on the life at school in Lorraine and Alsace. The entire district, both the district and all the schools in these two districts, a compulsory order has been passed, and they are supposed to learn German. Now this story is told by a boy named Franz. He is the narrator and he is telling the story. Okay, so come on, let's begin the story. But before that, let us see. Alphonse Daudet. Sorry, children. Alphonse Daudet. See the picture, the photograph. We have gone through the author, the background, now explanation and summary. See the theme. The theme of the lesson: patriotism, freedom of language, love for one's mother tongue, importance of education, unfair practice of linguistic chauvinism. Linguistic chauvinism. Linguistic regarding language, and chauvinism means having profound love, pride, respect for one's language. Unreasonable pride in one's own language, considering other languages as inferior. These are the points of the theme. The characters and places children. France, a school student, hardly 10 to 12 years old. M. Hamel, a teacher of French language. Class, some students and elderly villagers. Some student means of common age and elderly villagers also in the class. That is a set children. Watcher, the watcher is a blacksmith, and old houser, he is elderly villager. A school is elementary school in Alsac. Elementary means where a child is studying in the 8th standard. Till the school is 8th standard, that is called elementary school. France regrets. In short, I'll let you know. France regrets and realizes for not taking his lessons seriously. Because children, the teacher used to teach grammar topic, and that too participles. And France, he used to get bored with these lessons. He never used to remember. Memorization also he couldn't do it, and that is why he never used to take lessons, grammar lessons seriously. But today he is regretting. Why? We'll see it in the lesson. M. Hamel realized that all three, he himself, the children and the parents, are to be blamed for losing respect for the mother tongue. French is their mother tongue. He also not taking much seriously, because sometimes he used to go for his fishing. Sometimes he used to give leave for the children. Sometimes there used to be no schools. He used to ask the children to water the plants. The parents also were not serious. Instead of sending the children to school, they used to send the children to field, to work. And even the children were not serious. Children means France himself. Why? Because he used to get bored with the lessons. M. Hamel says, always keep closer the mother or the mother tongue to your heart, as it is the key to the prison of slavery. If you don't know the mother tongue, you will be a slavery. Prison to slavery means you will be slave. So you should know your mother tongue. Hamel becomes emotional and writes, Vive la France, or Vive la France, means long live France. The language should live for a long time. France should live for a long time. France remembers the last lesson very well. Today, when he was there in the class, he remembers his last lesson, and that impact and effect gives on him, because due to the patriotism, due to the love, respect, honor, pride for the language. Let us see now how it is. Franco-Prussian War 1870 to 1871. See the picture. Franco-Prussian War. The German conquered, or the German conquest of France in 1870 to 1871. Franco-Prussian, see the army, this side also, that side also. Here the map, you will see it, Alsace and Lorraine. The red color. Those are the two districts, Alsace and Lorraine of France, which is captured, which is conquered by Germany. In small, you will see GERM, ANY, Germany, that is Germany. So Alsace and Lorraine, these are the two districts marked in red. It is all in Europe, children. This is a European map. So, children, let's begin the lesson. France late for school that morning, as usual. He was late that day, because he never used to like his grammar lessons, and moreover he was not in a hurry to go to schools also, because he used to remember his teacher, that teacher will be there to ask the questions. to make him stand and will ask about the participle lesson, and he hasn't gone through it, he hasn't studied it, and that is why he sorry children, in dread of scolding. He was fearful of scolding of the teacher. The teacher will be, the teacher will scold, and that is why he was dilly-dallying. Mr. Hamel would ask participle lessons. Mr. Hamel, very strict teacher. Yes, children, generally what happens, students don't like strict teachers. But always remember, the teacher is strict for you only, for your good only. He'll make you understand, he'll make you do anything, but he'll make you to learn the lessons. He is very strict and he is known for his strictness. He makes the children learn by some or the other way. And that is why today Franz was very fearful, dread about his teacher. He was not knowing his grammar lessons. The topic was participles. Rather, he could not remember also. He used to learn, but he never used to remember. Some of us also having the same way. We never remember some things because we are not interested in that. And that is also one of the reasons we don't remember also. We don't take interest. See, the things which are interest us. See, nobody tells us to go to ground, but very at sharp time you go for ground, you leave for ground. You play there because that is the what you call main interest you are having with ground. You love ground. In the same manner, you should love classes also, or class also. Okay. So he did not know them because he did not read. He never used to enjoy those grammar lessons. He was just like you. Thought of spending the day out. That day he thought, instead of going to school and taking the beating of the teacher, it is better to be outside only. So, why he was thinking to be outside? Because outside he could see the atmosphere, a bright atmosphere. He could see the butterflies. He could see the birds chirruping. He could go to the woods. He could enjoy that day. And that is why he gave a thought of spending the day out. You also do the same thing. Just remember when you were before Navodaya, when you were in the 4th standard. From school to our home, just a short distance, maybe of 10 minutes, 5 minutes to some, maybe sometimes 15 minutes. But from school to home or from home to school, reaching to school or reaching to home, you used to take a lot of time dilly-dallying, watching some or the other things. Okay, the acrobats, the shopkeepers, the people around, the bullfight, the dog fight, the cock fight, isn't it? Nicely walking with the friends and then reaching to school. Maybe it is 10-minute times reaching school or 5 minutes far. Used to take half an hour. Why? Because used to enjoy while walking to school. So same manner, Franz wanted that to spend his day outside the school. He resisted and hurried off to school. He thought once again that it is better to be out. But again, that temptation, that fascination, that attraction, he led it behind. He put it in the back seat and thought, no, instead of spending the day out, it is better to be in the school. It is better to be with the friends. It is better to be in the classroom. So he made up his mind and he started going hurriedly to the school. The town hall bulletin board crowded. As he was passing or as he was going, marching towards his school, he found, in his way, he found that bulletin, the town hall, where all type of news used to come. And since last 2 years, on the bulletin board, there were only the defeat, people killing, bloodshed, the news were there. All bad news, all bad events since last year, because the war was on, no? Prussian and Franco war, and that is why all the bad news used to be there. So the town hall bulletin board, it was all crowded. He was not knowing why the crowd were. He thought just like every day the same thing might have come, that Some might have defeated, some might have killed, and that is maybe the reason the crowd is there. So what happens? As he was moving fast, somebody says, "Don't go fast, Bob. You'll get to your school in plenty of time. Don't make hustle and bustle, child. Be slow, because anyhow you are going to reach your school and there will be plenty of time." Now, why this sentence is be told? Because the one who has been reading the bulletin board, they knew something, but Franz was not knowing what is wrong there. And why this man is telling me not to go fast, not to be hurried? So that was the question in his mind. Scene at the school was unusual that day. When he reached, what he thought, when he'll go, though he was late, if he'll reach there, there will be hustle and bustle, the children will playing, there will be noise, and in that noise, slowly he will get inside the class, nobody will notice, and he'll take his seat and he'll sit there. But today it was all different. The scene was at the school was unusual. Instead of shouts, noise, hustling, bustling, playing, the children playing here and there, going here and there was a pin drop silence. Instead of roaming the children out of the class, the children were sitting in the class. That was unusual for him. Everybody was there inside. And the class seated and Mr. Hemmel moving around his iron ruler under his arm. Everybody, see how they are sitting. And Mr. Hamill is having his ruler in his hand and he is just pacing to and fro. In front and back he is pacing, marching here and there. The way you sit in the class sometimes, children? The same manner, M. Hamill, see how he is watching the children. He is explaining something, he is telling something. But the class is of pin drop silence. Class seated and Mr. Hamill moving around his iron ruler under his arm. Mr. Hamill was calm and kind, dressed in his best attire. Franz was fearful. He thought there will be scolding because he thought that everybody will be making noise and he'll nicely go to his seat and sit. Nobody will notice him. But there was a pin drop silence and each and every child was inside the class. So he has to move in front of everybody to take his seat. And from the desk of the teacher, he was supposed to move. And he thought he'll get a cane, he'll get the ruler. But nothing like that happened. Slowly, Franz got inside the class. Calmly, Mr. Hamill said to Franz to take his seat. Usually what used to happen, children? Franz used to get the scolding, shouting of Mr. Hamill, the teacher, because every time he used to get late. But today, Mr. Hamill was calm and kind, very in a posed manner he was sitting silently, dressed in his best attire, nicely dressed. He was wearing the suit, he was wearing the coat, which he used to wear during Christmas time, during the main functions of the school, during his birthdays, and main functions of the school especially used to wear it, and today he was wearing that. So Franz did not understand why he was wearing this coat, this type of attire. Village men were seated on the last bench. As soon as he got inside the class, he saw the village men were sitting there. To his surprise, he thought, why these villagers are there? That too the elderly people are sitting. That too the last benches. The students are also there and the villagers are also there. German language be taught in district Alsace and Lorraine, and that was the time when Mr. Hamill announces with a heavy heart that German language be taught in district of Alsace and Lorraine. There will be no more French teaching. There will be no more French learning. Only German language. And it has been ordered from Berlin children that they are supposed to impose this language on all the school of these two districts. So with his disheartened voice, saddened voice, Mr. Hamill is announcing in the class. This answered the many questions that were going in Franz's mind. As soon as he declared, as soon as he announced, the teacher announced about the language as were imposed on the French speaking people, lot of questions started in France's mind. He was searching for the solution, but he was not getting the answer. What will happen to teacher? Why the German language? Where we shall go? What about our language? So many questions were there. Franz was shocked that it was his last lesson, and Mr. Hamel declared that today is the last lesson in French. And he aroused the feelings, the patriotic feelings of the villagers and the students, that they should respect their mother tongue. They should respect their motherland. See, if you'll respect your mother tongue, you'll be respected everywhere in your country. And that is what he aroused their feelings of patriotism. And now Franz was shocked that it was his last lesson. To his surprise, he was thinking that till date he did not learn his lesson. And today is the last day of French. And from tomorrow onwards, there will no more be French. No more listening, no more talking, nothing. No more reading also. So he was worried today. Surprised, shocked also. Children, that's only we'll be finishing. We'll be taking in the next period. Okay? But before that, on the mind of Franz, how the things, the questions, the jumbling, the problem started. What will happen to his language? Why he did not listen to his language? Understood? Now this is the question for you as a homework. These are the questions for you as a homework or an activity. Describe, pen down it, children. Come on, open your notebooks and write down. Describe the background in which the last lesson has been set. If you cannot write down also, no problem, it will be there with you only in your Android. Once again, describe the background in which the last lesson has been set. Second question. Why was Franz afraid when he was going to school that day? Why was Franz afraid when he was going to school that day? Why did Franz want to spend his day outdoors? Why he wanted to spend his day outdoors? Spend his day outdoors. The fourth question. Why there was crowd in front of the bulletin board at the town hall? Why the people were gathered there at the bulletin board at the town hall? Fifth question. How was the scene in the school of the last day different that of the other day? How was the scene in the school, particular that day, different than the other day? And the sixth question is, how did Franz enter and what was the reaction of the teacher? He shouted, he beated, he scolded. What the teacher did? These are the 6 questions, children. Think and write it in your notebooks. Okay. So thank you, children, for this lesson. The next half of this lesson we'll take in the next period. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye-bye.